Good morning. Last class we have seen the meaning of non-current liabilities. You can see non-current liabilities are those which are not going to be settled within 1 year or within the operating cycle. Okay, for example, you have taken a loan which are repayable after 1 year. That is called as a non-current liability. And for example, you have signed a long-term contract where which the payments are to be made over a period of 4 or 5 years. So whatever is payable after 1 year or beyond 1 year, it will be called as what? A non-current liability. Okay, let's assume you signed a contract. If the payment has to be made within 1 year, that is called as a current liability. Let's assume you signed a loan where you have got to pay EMI. Okay, whatever is payable within the next year, it will be called as a current portion. Whatever is payable beyond 1 year, it will be called as what? Non-current portion. Even pension obligations also. Like gratuity or retirement benefits obligations, whatever is payable beyond 1 year will be called as a non-current liability. Within 1 year, it will be called as a current liability. Okay, suppose if you supplied products with long-term guarantee or warranty, the obligations that are going to arise beyond 1 year, we call it as what? Non-current liability. Okay, within 1 year, if it comes, it becomes what? A current liability. Hope you have seen the question number 1. Go through question number 1. Long-term debt should be included in current section, which means when a long-term debt will be included in current liability section. When it will be included? When they are payable within 1 year. Whether A is the answer? No. It matures within 1 year. It will be retired through the use of current assets is the most appropriate answer. This is the most appropriate answer. Answer is B. This is just a planning to refinance. That is not the thing. Next, as I told you in the last class, we will start and continue with equity. What do you mean by equity? Assets minus liability. Assets minus liability. The residual portion, we call it as equity. Okay, so before we discuss in detail, let me to explain to you various categories of equity. Okay, there are 6 categories of equity. One is called as capital stock. In India, we use the word share capital. We use the word equity share capital, preference share capital. In US, they use the word common stock. Common stock means equity shares, and preferred stock. Preferred stock means equity shares. So nothing but face value of shares issued. Face value of shares issued, we call it as what? Capital stock. Additional paid in capital. Suppose if the face value is 100 rupees. If the face value is 100 rupees, if you collect more than 100 rupees, it will be called as additional paid in capital. Okay, for example, if the shares issued are like 1 lakh shares at $100, okay, so if you look at 10 million or 1 crore will be the face value of shares. If you collect more than the face value, that is called as additional paid in capital. In India, we use the word securities premium. In US, they use the word EPIC. Okay, additional paid in capital. Retained earnings is nothing but the surplus in P&L account after distribution of dividends and other things. Otherwise, unused profit, undistributed profit, the profit which is not distributed, we call it as what? Retained earnings. Then, we will discuss this other comprehensive items separately. Generally, all unrealized items will come under other comprehensive items. Normally, unrealized gains are transferred to other comprehensive incomes. Realized gains are transferred to P&L account. Unrealized gains are transferred to other comprehensive income. We will see in detail what and all will come under other comprehensive income. Then, treasury stock is nothing but the shares which are purchased back by the company, nothing but buyback of shares. If shares are purchased back or repurchased, that is called as what? Treasury stock. Non-controlling interest is nothing but the shares held by minority shareholders. See, when holding company is holding majority of the shares held by outside shareholders, we call it as what? Non-controlling interest. In India, still we use the word minority interest. The shares held by minority shareholders. Okay, let me to prepare in the form of a statement so that you will understand better. This we have to present in the form of a statement, which we will learn it later also, but for your understanding, this is called as statement of changes in equity. Statement of changes in equity. Common stock. Common stock. This includes the face value of shares issued. This includes common stock, or this includes shares at face value. Okay, this we call it as share capital in India. Then APIC, additional paid in capital. This is nothing but securities premium. Okay, then retained earnings, nothing but undistributed profit. Okay, undistributed profits. Then we have got something called as other comprehensive incomes. Normally, unrealized gains are reported here. We are going to see this separately. Less treasury stock is nothing but buyback. Shares which are bought back, the company's own shares bought back will be included in treasury stock. Okay, that is treasury stock. Non-controlling interest, we call it as NCI, nothing but minority shareholders in subsidiary company. Minority shareholders in subsidiary company. This statement of changes in equity, okay, I'll write it. We have to prepare every year. Okay, for all these things, we have to prepare this every year. Okay, we have to mention what is the opening balance. Opening balance. Okay, additions during the year, reductions if there is any. For example, we may use share premium for the purpose of giving stock splits, bonus issue and other things. Then we'll arrive at closing balance. Okay, so this statement of changes in equity should be prepared every year. So these are the components of equity. So common stock, additional paid in capital, retained earnings, other comprehensive income, less the value of shares bought back, and add non-controlling interest, that is minority interest in subsidiary company. When holding company is one which holds majority of shares in another company, okay, the other shareholders are called as minority shareholders or subsidiary NCI. That should be noted separately. So we'll arrive at the closing balance and we'll report to the shareholders kind of a thing. This is a kind of reporting that you have got to do. Okay, so this is called as statement of changes in equity, otherwise called as net worth or shareholders funds. Okay, hope you understood the terms. Understanding the terms matters a lot. Don't think that it is a theory one. Understanding the terms matters a lot for going forward and further. Okay, what are the benefits of preparing a balance sheet? This may be a MCQ question or essay type question that may be tested. Okay, without knowing the balance sheet, how will you decide whether to invest in a company or not? Okay, so it gives assets, liabilities, and shareholders equity. It is the basis for determining return on equity, return on shareholders funds, return on net worth, return on total assets, like that. That we will be learning in part 2. I recommend the students to take up part 1 first, then go to part 2 next, because okay, in part 2 you're doing analysis of balance sheet, analysis of financial statement. In part 1 we'll be learning what is a balance sheet, what is a P&L account, what is a cash flow, how to prepare accounts. We'll be learning. From accounts we'll take analysis. We'll make what? Analysis. That is in part 2. Okay, so for knowledge sake, okay, so without knowing assets and liabilities and shareholders equity, it is not possible to calculate profitability or solvency or what is the net worth, etc. Okay, so this we had seen this balance sheet. Okay, when you prepare the balance sheet, it helps to find out liquidity, whether current assets are sufficient to pay liabilities, liquidity. Financial flexibility, which means can the firm change debt equity components like that. Solvency, if the firm or a company is closed, whether it will be able to repay the debts, you can understand. Okay, so based on the balance sheet only, you identify financial risks. Okay, so liquidity refers to whether you are able to convert the, assets into cash. Are you holding sufficient current assets? Okay, to pay off the current liabilities. Solvency refers to if the company is closed, whether you will be able to pay the obligation. It can be long term or short term. Okay, so whether the business is able to act quickly in getting the cash flows. Okay, whether you will be able to take care of unexpected needs, so that can be understood. Okay, risk can be assessed with the balance sheet only, So these are the benefits of balance sheet. There are a lot of limitations also. Okay, so it shows only a historical position of the company. Okay, it shows only the historical position of the company. It tells you only at the year-end items. During the year, what happened, nobody knows. For example, a creditor or a debtor outstanding for 360 days, settled on the last day. Okay, then it will affect the current asset and current liability. So, a balance sheet, I would say it is like a picture, not a videotape. So, by just looking at the picture, you cannot decide the properties of the company as a whole. Okay, and certain assets are not shown in the balance sheet. For example, sometimes when you acquire the assets on long-term lease basis, okay, sometimes the companies take it as an operating lease and charge it in P&L account. Okay, certain assets like goodwill, which are self-generated. Goodwill which is self-generated cannot be shown because there is no cost for that. For example, you would have registered copyright, patent right so many years back with a cost of 2,000, 3,000 rupees. Okay, today's value of copyright, patent right would be more. Okay, so that's why it represents, balance sheet represents only a history. By looking at the history, you cannot say the company will perform well or the company will not perform in the future. You cannot predict. That is the limitation of the balance sheet. Okay, so all these things. I request you to go through the second question, and you can answer. We can calculate return on investment, all those things using the assets and liabilities. We can identify debt equity structure. Yeah, we can identify the liquidity and financial flexibility. Determining the profitability is not possible because it is not giving statement of profit. Okay, we are not preparing P&L account. We are just showing what assets and liabilities as on a particular date. So profitability cannot be assessed by looking at the financial statement. Okay, so exception is asked. So we cannot ascertain or calculate profitability by just looking at what? The balance sheet. Okay, so what is an income statement next? We understood what is a balance sheet. We show current, non-current assets, non-current liability, current liability. We understood how to classify, reclassify. Okay, what is equity? What are the components of equity we had seen? Okay, next we are going to see about income statement. Income statement gives you particulars of revenues and expenses for a particular period. Okay, what is the income earned? What is expenses incurred for a particular period? It tells you the financial results. The objective of accounting itself to give the financial results and financial position. Financial position is given by balance sheet. Financial results are given in income statements. Okay, the income statement can be a single step income statement or a multi-step income statement. Sir, what is a single step income statement? Simple, income minus all expenses. Okay, all incomes added total income minus all expenses, let it be operating, non-operating, continuing or discontinuing operations. Just show all the expenses, income minus expenses including tax, all the things, you will get profit. Single step. Include all the incomes minus expenses, you will get what? Profit or loss. That is single step income statement. But in practice, single step income statements are not used widely, or practically that is not recommended by various laws, because it will not give you detailed information. Income, is it coming from operating sources or non-operating sources? We do not know, Okay, for example, sales is an operating income. Government subsidy or a grant is an operating income. Okay, what about certain things like, for example, interest earned or dividend earned or rent received? They are not operating income. They are non-operating income. That is not coming from your main business. Okay, so when you prepare a single step income statement, okay, you will not be able to classify into operating income and non-operating income. Okay, that's why multi-step income statements are recommended. So if you look at this, is a kind of a sample of multi-step income statement. Okay, what is the sales minus cost of goods sold? You would have seen all these things in your school level or graduation level. Gross profit minus selling and administrative overheads will give us operating income. Okay, include other incomes minus interest expenses, non-operating expenses and losses, it will give us EBIT. This is called as EBIT. This is technically called as EBIT. Okay, so operating income does not include interest investment incomes. It does not include interest expenses. Operating, non-operating gains and losses means, for example, loss on sale of assets, loss on sale of investments, okay, or it can be profit on sale of assets, like that. Okay, so if we include that also, we get what? EBIT. This is called as operating income before tax. Minus tax will give us profit after tax. This is called as income from continuing operations. Okay, during a particular year, there may be a closure of a business. Okay, from the discontinued segment, there may be a profit or loss. Okay, so gain or loss from, discontinuing the segment. There may be income tax benefit. For example, if the business is discontinued, either you have to pay the tax, or if there is a loss, you can set off against what? The regular business income. That benefit may be there. So, net income is nothing but, income from continuing operations as well as what? Discontinued operations, if any, during the last financial year. So if you look at this, multi-step income statement gives us detailed information about gross profit. It tells you how better the product performs. It tells you what is operating income. It tells you what is the income before tax, income before EBT, income before tax, and what is the income from continuing operations and discontinuing operations separately. So after all these things, we work out which one? Net income, and we also work out earnings per share. What is earnings per share? Let's assume net income is like 10 million, dollars, and let us assume there is 1 million shares outstanding. $10 million divided by 1 million, $10 per share, like that we will work out earnings per share. Okay, so this is called as a multi-step income statement. You can go through. Based on this, conceptual question can be tested in the exam. Either about different categories of income that can be disclosed, or it can be whether this non-operating losses are part of operating income or not, they can ask you. Whether interest income is part of operating income or not, like they can ask you. Okay, remember, interest and dividend income, for a banking company it will become operating income, because for a banker, earning interest is their main source of income. Okay, that is part of operating income. Okay, so this is a multi-step income statement. Okay, so single step income statement just include incomes and expenses, income minus expenses, like that. Then OCI, other comprehensive incomes. As I told you, unusual gains and losses on unusual gains and losses or gains are to be considered of what? Part of what? Other comprehensive income, other incomes. It is not other comprehensive income, it is other income. For example, okay, it's not other comprehensive income, it is other income. For example, what do you mean by unusual gain? During the current year, a company disposed of land for, let's assume $5 million. This was purchased several years back for $1 million. So 5 million minus 1 million, there is a gain of $4 million. Okay, this gain, will it come again and again? It's an unusual gain. It is an unusual gain. Same, there may be a loss also. For example, a company has a machinery which is having a book value of about 20 million, and this machine was sold for, let us assume, 3 million, 4 million. There is a loss. Whether that loss will come every year? Whether that loss will come every year? No, the loss will not come every year. So they are called as unusual losses and gains. Okay, that is also part of what? That is also part of income statement, multi-step income statement. You must work out these things separately. You must disclose these things separately. Then, what do you mean by a discontinued operation? For example, let us assume your company is dealing with 10 different types of products. You are dealing in electronic components, you are dealing in petrochemicals, you are dealing in IT enabled services, you are in telecommunication sector. Okay, and let us assume you are also manufacturing cloths, medicines, like that. You are a multi-product manufacturing company. You are going to stop an operation. You are going to stop an operation means you are going to stop or close the product. Let us assume the cloth or garment section is not doing well. Okay, it is either running at a loss or it is not giving adequate profit. Okay, so you want to close it, you want to dispose it. Either you disposed it or you are going to dispose it. That is called as discontinued operation. Okay, not only based on product, it can be geographical area of operation also. For example, let's assume you were operating in 6 countries. You were having branches in 6 countries. You closed a particular area of operation. Let's assume you decided to close the operations in China. Okay, that is called as a discontinued operation. That is called as a discontinued operation. You can go through the meaning. They are either held for sale or it is sold out already. Okay, so discontinued operations also in the multi-step income statement will show the gains and losses from disposal also, that is sale of items, components, all those things that we have got to disclose. We are moving on to one of the most important area. Okay, what do you mean by a discontinuing operation? What do you mean by a discontinuing operation? Number 1, it is classified as, you need not remember all these sections or all these codes which are used, just for your reference. Okay, it is held for sale. It is held for sale when the following criteria is met. That is called as a discontinuing operation. Okay, what is it? Number 1, the management has decided to sell the operation. Okay, it is available for immediate sale. For example, garment section I was telling you, we are going to close down. The management has taken already the decision. Management means board of directors, CEOs have decided. It is available for sale. We are just seeking for active buyers. Okay, so we have giving advertisements. We are seeking an active buyer to sell that particular thing. Okay, the sale is possible within 1 year. Okay, for example, it is ready for sale. We have already decided to sell. We are trying to locate a buyer for the same. Okay, and this will be sold within 1 year period of time. This will be sold within 1 year period of time at a fair value. At a fair value means need not be the market value. At a fair price we are going to sell it. Okay, so we are not going to withdraw this decision. We are not going to withdraw means the management has already planned to sell this entity. The management is not planning to withdraw this sale. So when all these criteria are met, it is called as held for sale. The component is called as held for sale. Okay, in your balance sheet, for example, we have got plant and machinery, we have got plant, property, equipment. Okay, we have got investments and so many assets and liabilities. Okay, let's assume your company is dealing in 6 products. One of the product is this garment section. You are going to close down and sell it. You are going to close down and sell it. When all these features are there, then what you can do is you can call it as held for sale division. Simple. Work out assets minus liabilities. The net worth of that division will be called as what? Held for sale. Okay. Then it will be called as a discontinued operation when the component has been sold already. Point number 1 is held for sale. It is a discontinuing operation or discontinued operation. Point number 2 is already sold. Third one is it is not actually a sale, but let us assume we are going for a demerger. We have got 6 products. One of the product is garment section. For this, we are going to distribute it to our shareholders, like a spin-off arrangement, etc. and all. We are going to distribute it. Or we are going to amalgamate with another company. We are going to join with another company. Or we are going to start a separate company to take care of management of, transfer all assets and liabilities of this particular garment division. Okay. It is not actually looking like a sale, right? You are starting a company wherein which this garment section will be transferred. That is also called as discontinued operation. Or you are distributing to your shareholders. A group of shareholders are interested in taking over this business. They may surrender the shares and take over this particular business. Or you are amalgamating with other company. At the time, you will dispose of this particular garment section. Okay. So all these things are called as a discontinued operation. Okay. So 3 criteria. One is held for sale, provided the management is already taken a decision and they are not going to change it. It's going to be disposed within 1 year. We are going to locate the active buyers. Okay. And the component or group components are already sold, and we are going to go for a disposal. Okay, like amalgamation or spin-off or abandonment means stopping the operation, distributing to the group of shareholders, all those things. When all these 3 criteria, it will be called as a discontinued operation. Okay, I need not tell you about the benefits of income statement. Okay, normally past performance is considered as prediction for future. If the company has performed well for about 20 years, in the 21st year, 22nd year, you can expect the company to perform well. Okay, so past performances are used as a basis for predicting future performance. Okay, so we are going to evaluate future cash flows using the financial statements. Okay, there are a lot of limitations of income statement also. Income can be manipulated, expenses can be manipulated, recognition principles can be manipulated. All losses may not be provided for. Okay, sometimes if you want to understate the income, you can provide for more losses and show your profit less. Okay, if you want to inflate the profit, you can avoid or cutting the provision for losses and bad debts, etc. You can inflate the profit and show. You can change the method of depreciation, and you can alter your income that is reported. Okay, some companies you will find cash flow will be negative, but income will be positive. We are going to see in cash flow statements. Okay, where if you look at cash from operation will be negative. Cash from operation will be negative. But if you look at profit, it is positive. Profits would have been positive, but cash from operation would have been negative. What is the use in investing in the company? Sir, how that is possible? Let us assume sales are done on credit. Sales are made on credit, and you have not collected the money. What will happen? You sold the product, you have not collected the money. Will you include in income statement? Yes, we will include in income statement. Credit sales, cash sales, both are included in income statement. Okay, but you have not collected cash. If you look at the cash flow, sales is done, but cash has not come in. Okay, if you look at, there will be lesser cash flow or a fewer cash flow. There may be a negative cash flow also if you look at the expenses with expenses. So the quality of cash flows, quality of earnings are not there in the income statement. Okay, there is a concept called as channel stuffing. I'll explain you the concept called as what do you mean by channel stuffing? For example, let us assume you have to close the books of accounts on 31st December 2021. Okay, you have to close the books of accounts on 31st December 2021. As on this particular date, you found the earnings are like 300 million. Okay, the sales revenue is only 300 million on this particular date. Okay, but last year the sales was about 350 million. Okay, last year the sales was about 350 million. Now the sales is only 300 million. What to do now? Simple. On 31st December 2001, you will call your agents, and distributors, etc. and all. On 31st December 2021, you will bill the sales for $120 million. On the last day, you sell the product, but you will tell the dealers, sub-distributors and all, don't pay the money immediately. We will collect the money later. We will collect the money later. Probably after 1 month, 2 months, you can pay it. As of now, just get the bill. We will deliver the goods. Okay. So what I will do is, actual sales is only 300 million. Okay. Just to inflate my income, on the last day, I bill for 120 million and I report $420 million. As the word says, 420 in India means cheat. Okay. So I report 420 million income in the financial statement. If you look at what is the real sales, 300 million. But I am inflating on the last day by preparing the bills. It is only a bookwork and I am showing a revenue from operation of 420 million. This is called as channel stuffing. So this will inflate the income of the current year. By looking at the financial statement when you buy the share, this year, yeah, very good earnings, profit will be there, earnings are there, the price will go up. Next year, this 120 million sales will not be there. Actually, this is like you are booking the sales of the next year in advance in the current year itself. So next year, if they are not able to sell, the sales might come to 200 million or 180 million like that, and you will find you are losing in the share price. So manipulations are possible. Manipulations are possible in accounts. Okay, so go for window dressing and other things. Yeah, manipulations are always possible. That's why you cannot 100% rely. You cannot 100% rely on the income statement and purchase the shares. Go through the third question. Try to answer it. It's a very simple question, right? Income statement. See, I told you, statement of changes in financial position, retained earnings, all these things are connected with the balance sheet as on a particular date. Income statement is always prepared for a period. Normally for 1 year it is prepared. Done? Okay. Statement of cash flows. Statement of cash flows, I'll deal with it separately. Before that, let us analyze a lot of other components also. So let me to go off from the screen. Okay, certain things require writing and explaining. Those things I will do it without this particular screen appearance. Okay, listen to it. Okay, we'll discuss on statement of cash flow later.